All right, good evening and welcome to the Selectmen's meeting of January 6th. First, we need to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not at all. Welcome. All right. First, we have the Town Administrator Weekly Update.
Good evening. First thing I wanted to ask you about was there was some conversations about possibly having a Zoom meeting with the sheriff. Is that something that we still want to do and schedule? He did indicate to me that Wednesdays were not good for him because that was the night that their commissioners met. Or are you comfortable just holding off for a little bit, or what are your thoughts?
I don't think it would hurt to have it for the simple reason, I think with the issues we're having ongoing, at least we'll know what we're looking at.
Okay.
And what kind of reinforcement we're gonna have from them.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple different answers, so it would be good to talk with him.
We're talking about Zooming that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Fine with
wonder if he
me.
could do it like in the evening.
Okay, I will reach out.
That would work for either one of you, but after,
Even
Yeah, that's fine.
much better for me.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
yep.
All right, I'll see if I can get it scheduled and we'll go from there. The next one, I just want to let you know that the road committee chair did reach out to me and she received the packet. She's called for a meeting on January 19th at 6 o'clock.
Six o'clock.
6 o'clock, yep. So the next item that I need to discuss with you is regarding these emails that are going back and forth, and I just want to make sure that I'm following the direction of the board in regards to what you want from me as your administrator. As you know, we assign liaisons, and if they are simple items that there are no decisions made per se, I try to reach out to the liaison and we try to work out whatever's going on. We have, as you know, a continuing situation with an individual that we're having trouble with at the transfer station. The town, per legal and per the governor's office, made special accommodations for anybody. Oh, I'm sorry, I said something. For anybody that can't wear a mask or face covering, we made special accommodations on Wednesdays from 4 to 4:30. We take special precautions. The superintendent has a different policy in place. And the board's aware of that, but Kim and I, for the most part, have been communicating. There's been some ongoing issues. We've spoken to the sheriff's department a couple of times. We had issues with the individual going on that Wednesday, and then the individual would show up on a different day. It's kind of gone back and forth. There are just so many emails going back and forth. However, one of the emails that I want to reference to you indicates that basically the full board is not aware of, so I want to make sure that you see it. Just had it. So he indicated that, oh, here we go. All right. I'm not going to read the whole email because some of it's irrelevant. So you made no mention of my request to the selectmen during the meeting. If you're going to be relaying messages to them, then it's got to be in public. I've explained that to you before. Nothing I do with the town is going to be behind closed doors. The selectmen have been included in every email I've sent for the town for some time. An explanation of deleted emails would be nice too. If they weren't deleted, then I ask you to forward the emails to actonmaintruthseekers@gmail.com. So this is regarding, so he went a couple of Wednesdays between 4 and 4:30, everything was fine. The sheriff's department, when they spoke to him about possibly criminally trespassing, because he went on a different day. It's just been back and forth. The superintendent of the transfer station is struggling with some of these. So I sent him an email telling him that it was the sheriff's department that told me that you couldn't make it on Wednesdays. The town had already set up special accommodations for you on Wednesdays from 4 to 4:30. We were several weeks in when I heard from a different source that you possibly couldn't make it on Wednesdays, depending on the babysitting of the grandson. In another email, you said you could make it, but it would be right at 4:30. I reviewed all of this with the town's liaison, the board chair, Kim Stacy Horn, and it was my mistake not to get back to you on Thursday It was New Year's Eve. There was no decision made by her or anyone. It was more of an update that you would contact the superintendent if you needed to go, but it would be very close to 4:30. You were still coming within the time allotted by the Board of Selectmen for special accommodations, so there was no decision made for the full board to make, thus it not being on the agenda. So just want to make that clear that, and I do go on to, lastly, regarding any deleted emails from you, I assure you I have none. And every email you have sent to me, I have replied to them as well. I appreciate you CCing the full board, as that's one less thing for me to have to do. Just like every department head in this building and everywhere else, every email that I send goes, you get them as liaisons. So, I just want to make it clear that we weren't withholding anything. Kim and I, he basically said to us, I now can't get there till 4:30 on the money. We reached out to the superintendent, that was fine. So there was nothing to bring to you.
No, and there was an email that stated that from him.
I know, but it
Yeah.
looks like we're withholding information.
No,
I just want to make that clear that that's how that all happened. Speaking of the same individual and freedom of information, so we are being inundated with freedom of information. We are doing our best to get them done.
You're talking about the same individual with that letter there?
Yes, but these are freedom of informations on properties and map and lots and emails. These are the Tattle Street issues.
Well, I think when we were discussing this, I think for the public and everybody, because we're jumping from this and that, to make sure everybody knows who's writing the emails, sending them.
That's your call.
Well, I mean, as you're reading, I just like, so, because for everybody to know what we're dealing with here and where it's coming from, I think it might be a good idea.
That's up
Is
to the board.
that something we can do?
I mean, they're public documents. The freedom of informations are read out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
we
they
do-
read
we
out
do it
loud with the
Charles
individual's
Crespi and
name.
everybody else, so,
So the freedom of informations were received by Mr. Jeff Donahue. The last 2 weeks ago, we got them on 2 different map and lots. We did, as you saw in all the emails, we gathered everything upstairs and down that we had on the 2 Cressy properties, which is what he's looking for. It took us a couple of days to do that. You know, we have a lot of town business that trying to go on in every department. We all worked together, we got our documents, we put them together. It was $22 to $24 in copies, okay? But you have a policy that says 50 cents a copy. I don't have the authority to waive that. That's your policy. So I sent an email to the individual telling him that the documents are ready and he needs to come pick them up. When you tell me you want everything the town has on map 153 lot 3, to me that means every tax bill that I have in my possession, the deeds, the commitment book, that's what I have in my possession. I'm not going to be accused of not doing it properly. I get enough false
he
accusations.
didn't
that-
list out exactly what he wanted, so he just,
But, so now he doesn't want all the documents. So, I did speak to legal today in regards to, can I withhold doing additional freedom of informations until these are picked up? And they did tell me that I could. So this one's setting aside, and it's, will be held. The other one, I got legal advice.
What exactly, did the freedom of information, was it he wanted all?
Yeah, the freedom of information says, I'm requesting all information the town of Acton has on 2 lots located in the town of Acton described as town tax map 153 lot 5 and 153 lot 5-1 under main freedom of information. Thank you, Jeff
So he's
Donahue.
asking for all that we have, so you get, so. I would
tax
say we
information
wait-
would be a lot of it.
I mean, you know what I mean, and I understand, I mean, I sent him an email back telling him it was ready, telling him, you know, the price, and, you know, he's basically, you know, because half of that is online, he's, you know, making his accusation that I've created this extra cost for him, but it's not my job to decide what you want, do you know what I mean? If you're
Right.
telling me to
You have
pull
to be
everything,
specific.
if I don't do my job, then that's on me. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I've pulled everything that he's told us, so,
Can we do something like, you need to pick these up first before?
oh
you
yeah, no,
sign?
he's gonna be, I'm sure he'll see this, but he will get an email as well that legal has told us. Now,
he didn't put any dates on that either, did he? Just said everything you have on it.
Right.
not
So you could
from-
go back 40, 50 years.
I mean, I go back, so tax records, certain things were only required to keep so many years by, right to redemption, so it's the advice of the attorneys not to keep them longer.
Yep.
Plus we have a space issue, so we go back the 6 years that we have records for.
Yeah.
So seeing,
Maybe it'd be smart to ask any individual looking for information, give me a time frame. You know, how far back do you want me to go?
Okay.
You know, it might help lessen, I mean, they may be looking for a specific area and
But,
not
well, I mean-
realizing that you're gonna go back.
The freedom of information forms, I mean, when you.
I mean,
fill
and
them
as
out-
much as I understand, I mean, I appreciate that, you've got somebody like Crespi that sends it, you know, the complete packet the planning board is going to receive that night, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
some of them are more specific, and maybe we just
Yeah.
need to have a conversation of what specifically, but, you
Yeah.
know, and, you know, maybe we can, I'd say we can adjust the form some to help that, but, you know, we can't require them to use the form. So any
Right.
email that comes in, we have to accept the email, so.
Yep.
So seeing that he has, say he doesn't pick that up, we don't have, so he's got 5 other ones that he's requested,
Well,
correct?
so that's the next one we need to talk about. So last week, we talked about the one that he wanted any and all, documents, correspondence with pretty much anybody involved in the town of Acton that involved, I think there were 7 or 8 personal names. And I don't know about the board, I had sent those people to you because they are reaching out to me.
Yep.
And I've sent them out to you because, anyways. So the question was, if somebody on that list has an active restraining order against the individual, does the town still have to release information? The answer is yes. Anything we have in our possession is public information. We know that every day we hit send on an email. But what we did was, in the email that I sent you guys, I CC'd you in, was that we have to work on a cost estimate. I mean, you've asked for everything that the town has ever had with any of these individuals, past, present, planning board members, past, present, road commissioners. I mean, that's gonna take some serious time to figure out. I mean, you know, I have no idea, and we'll use poor Joyce, I don't know if she ever corresponded with any of these 7 people. You know what I mean? So I sent him an email saying that I'm gonna have to come up with an estimate. And I don't even know where I'm gonna start on calculating that estimate. The response was, he changed the freedom of information and said, to get it within the hour, because you get an hour free, I'll just start with this one piece, and let's focus on this. So we'll do that first, get me that, and then I'll go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Dragging it out.
I'm sorry?
You're dragging it out.
Well, you know, cutting and pasting, so I'm not sure, but, you know, short of getting legal advice, I mean, certainly, I can, you know, produce everything I have, I'm sure every other department in the building can provide what they have. I don't know how far back, this is all Tattle Street related, I don't know if the road committee has ever dealt with that, if, you know, I'm just not real sure where to start on the estimate, so I'm looking for some support or some suggestions from the board.
Well, as far as him piecemealing it, we know that we know all the information he wants. Now he's playing the game of, well, I'll just break this up into 1-hour increments, is what he's doing. So,
Kinda, I mean, you know what he wants.
yeah. I mean, we can't, I guess,
All or
refuse him, but
No, we have to.
boy, it's,
How do you do under an hour every time?
Well, you can't, I mean, I'm not gonna be able to, I mean, I can search my email in under an hour for, I mean, those 7 names, I know, I know since I've started here, I've probably communicated with 2 of them, I've told you that, but it's the other departments and
Yeah.
outside committees and stuff that, I just have no way of knowing that.
that's a state regulation, the 1 hour?
Yeah, it's state, yeah,
Yeah,
so,
really, the
I mean-
freedom of information, I don't know if everybody really understands what kind of a drag this puts on the town of Acton when we have a situation like we have right now. I mean, the state of Maine's only allowing us to charge $15 an hour
Right.
for someone who makes more than $15 an hour. So, and the resources are already thin, and we're playing Magnum PI up here every day trying to find information on a
Right.
fishing expedition. And, so it really is a big strain on the town of Acton.
Yeah. But unfortunately,
We have to
because
do
of
it.
state regulations, we have to do it.
But if this continues on, we may have to start thinking about possibly, getting some more help. Because we can't be having our town administrator and everything else get overloaded with this.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's gonna cost us money.
Right,
And
right.
I just want the town of Acton to know that this cost us money in the long run, in time.
so, just so I don't miss anything, because I think there's probably 20-plus emails since last week, so, when I last said, because I don't want to miss not saying it on television, so the town of Acton is a receipt of your Freedom of Information request, and it is in the process of creating an estimate of the total cost. This request will certainly take some time and may require a deposit pursuant to the town's policy, see attached. I know it's a holiday weekend, I understand that my request is extensive and will contain a great amount of information. At this time, I will be breaking my request up into sections, timelines, if you will. First, I would like the time from when Article 43 was first introduced to the town, which would have been 18, right? 18.
Might have been
It was my
17.
road. I feel like it was 18, but 17 or 18 anyways. First, I would like the time from when Article 43 was first introduced to the town. I don't know what that means. If there was a public hearing, you can surely just point me to the video or transcript. That was at an open town meeting, so there wouldn't be, so that's an easy response. I'm most interested in the correspondence between the association and town employees, so was that elected officials, committee members at the time, so June of 18.
I thought there was an open meeting there prior to the town meeting.
No, well,
43. I might be mistaken, but
I don't remember.
I mean, it was, we definitely, you know, selectmen agendas worked on the warrant articles and so forth, but the discussion of it was certainly, it would have been at a town meeting, we wouldn't have had a public hearing on that. But between the association and town employees, I mean, I don't recall Tattle Street even applying or being part of any of that conversation when we first started doing 43, and I may defer to Leslie and maybe have a conversation with her, but I mean, short of going.
Leslie, I was gonna say,
Well,
was she
she
even
helped
there
us
that
write
first
the,
year?
oh, she was coming, I mean, she helped with a lease, that was part of writing it, and moving it forward.
Well, maybe she would.
But, so I need to go back to the selectman's email that was elected at that time, go, you know what I mean? Go through the old accounts and see what's there, figure out who else was involved, look at those old email accounts. My second timeline will be the time surrounding the forming of the association. Does that mean, I guess I'm not understanding association, I'm thinking road association, or does that mean, or is he calling Article 43 an association?
Or is he talking about Tattle Street?
I think he's talking about Tattle Street, because
My-
it's not, it has to be.
And I have no idea when Tattle
We
Street
have no
was.
associations.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't
we
have
have
association.
articles and we have, you know,
Second timeline will be the time surrounding the forming of the association. Again, any communication between the association, town employees, elected officials, and volunteers, public meetings. I mean, I know as a notary that, you know, I can recall some of the members of Tattle Street calling their meeting, but that's, you know, that would be in the Article
Do you mean like if
43
they talked to the
application.
road committee, or if they talked to one
I
of
think
us?
what,
or-
I think what
That's the thing,
he's,
Kim, I don't know where to start with
only
it.
thing that I think he could be referring to is, back in the day, from what I got out of it, talking to a member of that association, was, the three of them used to come up here, used to have to sign, I think notarized.
Well, that was to call for a public meeting, yes, and I did sign those as a
think that-
notary, call for a public meeting, but I'm serving as a notary, and once they
Yeah.
post that meeting for Tattle Street, I mean, it's got nothing to do with the town of
nothing,
Acton.
yeah, nothing to do with the town.
He may think there is.
Yeah, I mean, short of renting the hall, you know, I wasn't even in the position I was in at that point. I mean, it's been years since we've done that, but, and certainly, you know, we want to give them whatever we have, I'm just not sure where to start estimate-wise. And the other piece is this file that he wants to review, and again, and I say this on camera as many times as I can, every email to any department in this town is CC'd to the board, the proper liaison. He wants to know when he can, when he's going to. Kim and I drafted a response that said as soon as it was ready. He wants to know when that's gonna be.
I think we're gonna need some time to think on. where
On
you
an
should
estimate?
start. Yeah, I mean, does
I
anybody,
mean, I guess, you know, we can start small and we can say, you know, okay, let's estimate 5 hours to go through. You know, we don't wanna do anything crazy, but, so it's
Right.
gonna take, you know, an evening that the town's not open, or Saturday or Sunday, and you're right, you're gonna pay somebody on salary.
right, to do it, which is,
That, right, because we're not governed to 40 hours, you know, so it's just, but it's not something that, you know, something like that you really can delegate based on, you know, and then we send it to all the other departments and ask them if they have anything, we spend, you know, spending their time,
their time's gonna
because it's
add
not
up
just
too.
upstairs, so
Right across the board.
I'm looking for advice from the board.
I wouldn't come up with
Yeah.
a price until he pays for the one he hasn't paid
So we
for.
won't even have the conversation until that's paid for?
Yeah,
If we can get what, yeah. and
we'll
before
think
you
about
get
it and see what we
started.
can,
Then why waste our man time?
yeah,
You know, figuring out prices and stuff.
yeah. I mean, you may wanna ask him, does he mean a committee or does he mean an association?
Okay,
I mean, that's the only thing I see in there that's questionable. So,
Clarify that for
Yeah.
us.
and just an update from the executive order, just so that it can be clear on television, this is we've spoken to many attorneys today, we've spoken to the governor's office, and, there are exceptions to face masks and the governor's office wants it to be very clear that there's a difference between a face mask and a face shield. And in this order, the latest order, it says, "Nothing in this order should be interpreted as prohibiting a reasonable accommodation for those with a disability. But due to the direct threat of a public health and safety, no such accommodation may make it permissible for any person to enter or remain in a public setting without a face covering."
That trumps everything.
That's
That's-
what they're telling us to follow.
You're in a public setting.
Yeah.
There you go.
So if somebody who can't come because they have an issue, has a handful of paperwork they want read,
Well, well, I have the paperwork, and he's still on the agenda.
Okay,
Yep.
yep.
So, the ADA, the compliance with the people with disability, I mean, they've worked very hard to kind of to intertwine these together, and, what they're telling us is that there's a difference between a mask and a shield, and for people that have breathing issues, that cannot wear a mask, they believe, and this is not me, they believe that they can wear a face shield, that there is a difference. So, they believe that requiring a face shield is within you're meeting the disability of a requirement. If there was anything else short of a meeting, I mean, we're going outside to cars, we're doing things through mail, I mean, we're doing everything we can.
so somebody could wear a face shield. I mean.
Yes, and we have offered a face shields, we
That
have,
was my
Yeah.
next question, which I figured you
Yeah.
did. Okay.
I mean, you
That's-
yourself
yeah.
are wearing a face shield, and we're wearing masks.
We're bending over backwards.
every email, I mean,
Yeah.
I urge you to look at them, because
Yeah.
I have,
Yeah.
I don't wanna take anybody's rights away, it's not about that,
No.
but the town of Acton will be fined, and when the town of Acton is fined, whose fault's it gonna be?
Well, we're doing everything we're supposed to
mean-
be
We do
doing.
have other people here who
Just someone testing the waters.
have the right to.
Right, an employee,
protect.
somebody gets sick, I mean, they can claim that, we got sick because you allowed somebody to be in here without
Yeah.
a face covering,
Right.
so.
No, I think we're doing everything we possibly can do. And,
So I have another issue, another resident in town that, we need to make a public decision on what we're gonna do with. This individual at this point is, not allowed to be downstairs without notice or without someone being present, because of his behavior. This individual is, half of the 50% reason that we have cameras in these buildings. It's not getting any better. When I come in on a Thursday, the office opens at 4, I'm trying to get here by 1, 2 o'clock. I get voicemails on my machine saying that I'm breaking a window in my house for every half hour that you don't call me back. And then the sheriff's department calls me to tell me that the windows are being broken. Yesterday, yesterday he comes back into the building. He goes downstairs. I was buzzed to come downstairs. I went downstairs with Cheryl. I recorded the situation. I handled it. He came upstairs with me. We sat down, we reviewed the files that he wanted to look at. Because he's not satisfied with what he's finding in the files, or not satisfied for what he's finding in the answers that he's getting from that department. It comes down, I mean, I'm doing my best to keep him at bay. Yesterday it was, I'm throwing, what was it, my Adderall out every half hour, throwing an Adderall
Nitros.
out. No, not Adderall, what was it?
Nitros.
Nitro, sorry, thinking Adderall, what I should.
yeah,
Was it
I'm
last week?
thinking
It
of
was a
nitro,
heart
right, I'm throwing a
attack.
nitro
Yeah.
out for every half hour that you
Yeah.
don't get me an answer.
yeah.
I mean, and today he comes back in, so we won't, so we're not allowing him downstairs. I'm doing my best to keep him out of there. I've called adult services, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've called adult services, the sheriff's department
No, they won't.
doesn't wanna deal with him.
We did have a conference call with the sergeant one day.
We've had numerous, I mean, this has been months and months.
Any suggestions from them of what we should do?
If I call and say that I feel like he's gonna hurt himself, no. I mean, they can come and tell him to leave. He was here today for some time. He gets very upset when, thinks they're building the water. They're not building the water. So many people have looked into this. I mean, we can't spell it out anymore. Every one of you have talked to them.
I talked to him tonight, so,
And that's the only way I can I'm not gonna lie, that's the
Yeah.
only way I can get him out of the building.
yeah,
He just, you know what I mean? in my 10, 12-hour days, these two individuals are taking up 6 or 8 hours of my days, almost daily.
I know, it's exhausting, and it's
It's,
using resources that we can't afford to have used. Because there's no,
especially when I tell you guys
No end
every
to it.
single thing and include
Yeah.
you in every single email, do whatever anybody asks of me, and then it's still, you know, it's, I just, I don't know what to do with these two individuals. So,
Well,
we need legal opinion of some
Counsel is-
sort.
Yeah, I really think that we need to.
on one of them, definitely, like Jen said, there's a reason why we put cameras in here. Mm-hmm. I have met with the individual,
oh, he tells me all the time that he's gonna kill himself with my window.
and when threats are being made like that, I met with the individual one day.
Scary.
And now he makes accusation, I threatened to beat him up. You know, he's all over the
Yeah.
board. He's a risk, and honestly, when he comes up here, I don't like the idea that he's up here in the situation that he's in.
Yeah,
It's not safe.
yeah, you don't know what's going on, really. It's,
It could turn into a very bad situation.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Especially with the threats that have been made to himself and others.
yeah,
Right, there's a reason that, you know,
Yeah.
he's not locked downstairs.
yeah. Yeah, he hasn't made any threats upstairs to any individual.
No, I mean, he talks about, you know, homicide,
Because-
killing himself, he talks about
Yeah.
the windows, the medication.
And that's what I tried to stress to him tonight when I talked to him, it's like, listen, you need to take care of yourself. And he's not comprehending it, so, I mean, I don't know what to do next with him, really. I mean, that's why I said we need some legal
Need some
legal advice.
And
Yeah.
how to handle this the
Yeah.
right way.
Yeah.
Each situation is different.
Whether it's MMA or whether it's our own attorney, one of our attorneys.
Well, we had a conversation with I think it was a sergeant, and what can we do here, what can we do there? And pretty much, they weren't any help at all.
Yeah.
I mean, at all. I was very disappointed, and he explained why their hands were tied,
Well, they feel like he's a danger to them as well.
Yeah,
Because of the threats that are made.
because they don't even, because of the calls that are made, and when we ask him, can you go up and do a wellness check on him? And the threats that he's made, they don't dare go to his residence because
Yeah.
of what might aspire, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
They know what
so.
these
we probably ought to
individuals
get
are
some-
capable of.
But you know, but regardless of what anybody stands up here and says, or says about me, or anything, I mean, I struggle with leaving at the end of the day with hearing those comments from him.
Yeah,
Like him or not, troublemaker
Right.
or not, regardless of what he's caused, I
See
struggle
anybody.
with
Well,
hearing him
that's-
say those things to me over and over.
Yeah.
Not about me, because, you know what I mean? I don't,
it's him.
right, I don't wanna see this man commit suicide.
No.
I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want that on,
None of
on
us
my.
do, and that's why when
Right,
I-
I can't,
Yeah.
you know, that is so close to my heart, and I just
Yeah.
can't
When I
handle
talked to him today,
constant,
he was, he's concerned about the way some of the building is going on. Well, I know the building is,
we've looked into
I
it.
believe the building is all legal.
We've looked
Everything is
into
where
it.
it needs to be.
Right.
So I tried to focus on his well-being, and, yeah. Unfortunately, he's a soul that needs help, and we don't know where to send, how to,
We tried
Yeah.
finding some help for him, and the problem was the sheriff's department pretty much said we can't do nothing.
yeah. Yeah, and an individual has to want to help themselves as well, there's many pieces of this. So maybe it's, get some legal advice, I don't know whether you said you tried adult services, or, there's gotta be somebody out there somewhere, so I guess we just see if we can't start beating the bushes somehow, and,
Okay.
MMA must have some sort of direction they can point us in, when you think?
Yeah, call our local attorney, call our sheriff's department.
That's what they're
Yeah.
gonna tell us.
Yeah, because they're, I mean, they're general attorneys, they don't, you know what I mean? They'll tell you how many days to post something, they'll give you opinions, but they don't get into the, so.
Yeah.
right.
All right, I will,
I mean, there has to be other situations in other
Yeah.
towns
try-
that,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean-
That's
dealt
why I
with
asked
this.
maybe if MMA had to deal with something
Yeah.
like
Something like
that.
that,
Some sort of
yeah.
lawsuit
yeah,
or something.
I do feel for the guy, I mean, it's,
I don't want anything to happen to them.
you know, and that's, it just,
Yeah.
the concerns that come in when they first started coming in, I go to you as a liaison, we do some basic looking into it, no different if it was in my department or any other
Yeah.
department, but then it turns into more, because then it turns into that you were interfering in the department. We're, you know what I mean, we're following
Right.
through with what's in front of us, and then it turns into more, and it's just a, you know what I mean, it's not a good cycle.
Yeah.
Because everybody's just trying to keep everybody safe, do their own job, we all have things that we have to be looked into, me included. You know what I mean? But it's nothing on anybody, it's not,
Yeah.
all right, we'll see what happens. Saga continues with him. The next one was the sheriff log. Just want to let you know that they did send you the monthly reports, and I think that hopefully it's in the packet. If not, I'll
Yep.
get it to you.
It is.
Oh, good, there it is. I did ask them this time. I think that one of you asked me last week to break it up between Acton and Shapley. You wanted to see just Acton? Or did I dream that? Anyways, you got just Acton. And what is interesting, so they do contract town report, they do notable mentions or notable events for December. Shapley. They've been very busy with these, what do you call those converter things? Catalytic. So Shapley. Catalytic, Shapley.
Do they
Church,
catch-
Shapley, Shapley got broken into, violations, backroad Shapley. December 23rd, note the violation of the governor's order. That is one of their noted events. Suspicious activity, that one is in Acton. And then the last one is a theft in Acton. But that's their December notable events, so. Turn to some good news, if you will. Maine Municipal did their inspection as we expected. Kudos to the department heads and certainly my staff that helped in all of the town hall building, get everything ready. He started first with the sand and salt shed. He went over and met the road commissioners, or at least one of them. I think one of them had an appointment, but nevertheless, both of them worked very hard to get it ready. He had no concerns with the sand and salt building. He mentioned an electrical box outside that was open, but there was no electricity hooked up to it anyways, right, Will? And he didn't have any concerns with it, but if
That's
he
on
had
the old
to,
blue building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so if he had to find something, it would be that, but there was no electricity to do anyways. So that went well. He then came back over, we sat down, round table, sent him with the fire chief over to, they only did the rescue building, not the fire station. They moved one table a couple of feet away from a generator or some sort of box. He said they fixed it on the spot. Other than that, he had absolutely no concerns with the rescue building. He then met Mr. Neal, which reminded me, we need to send Mary Grant an email, I'll tell you why. He then came over and met with Mr. Neal. We had pre-scheduled him to meet with the Lincoln Schoolhouse. And while he was there, and this is what I want to make clear to Mary Grant, while he was there, he said, oh, I forgot about this other building on Sam Page Road. And I said, oh, good timing. Mr. Neal actually serves on both committees, and he offered to go over there. So I just want to send an email to the chair, make sure that he knows that we didn't, go over everybody's head. It was just already, it just worked out that way, so. He also didn't have any concerns with either one of those buildings at all. They talked about the roof a little bit at Mary Grant, but, thought it still had some years left in it and was very impressed with those. Last building was the town hall. He did a full, review of it upstairs, downstairs, outside. He does want the board to, consider having that siding finished, which I told him you guys knew, but he thinks that needs to be done to maintain the building. He wants to make sure that the town hall staff is getting yearly fire extinguisher and AED training. I've already spoken to the fire chief and we're gonna set that up. And then the last thing we talked about was the fact that the town has had 10 claims in the last 2 years. 5 of them at the school, 4 at the fire station, and 1 at the town hall. He wants to make sure that like the video training, like the computer video training that we take yearly, that's done at the other departments as well. But as far as the building and all the little things, he found nothing. Sent me an email that said, Dear Jennifer, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet with me on January 5th. The purpose of the meeting was to update the operations at the town house, conduct property and hazard surveys of the town office, sand, salt building, storage building, Sanborn Road rescue buildings, school and storage buildings on his Page Road. But overall, as a result of the survey, no hazards were identified. If you have any questions, or I can be further service. So I think that's impressive that we pulled that together. A lot of people worked hard to pull that together, so
Nice.
that went well.
Frame that one. The last one, we had quite a few pages.
We've learned.
Yep.
So, and we, obviously we want it to be safe for everybody as
Sure.
well, so.
Do we do those classes yearly now? Those
Classes.
classes like the training class.
Well, yeah, I mean, Maine Municipal has training classes that we can pull at any time to have people take, and that's, him and I are
Is he
gonna.
suggesting that they do them yearly?
Well, certain things like the fire extinguisher and the AED, because he,
Okay.
you know, he might have said to me, I'm having a heart attack, what's the first thing you're gonna do? And we need to review that, I think it's been, were you here when we did the AED training? Yeah, so, you've had it, but how many years have you been here now? Couple? So, how many? 3? So it's something, just a good refresher, and Rick offered to do all that with us, but
Good.
the, like the monitors, there are some things, David, that we do every year to try to keep our workers' comp claims down. Wanted to make sure that you saw the email that came in from Mrs. Peterson regarding last week's meeting. And the last thing, and this may be, I don't know, a combination of a question for Will and David kind of together. These dig safe notices that I get regularly, I mean, I've just started getting them, so I generally forward them to both road commissioners and to the liaison. Is there something I'm supposed to be doing with them, or you guys got this?
There really is nothing to them.
They're just dig safe notices?
I've had a couple of them call me, and I've met one guy before, and the rest of them, they don't.
So just keep forwarding the emails and,
I just keep them.
okay,
I've had one guy call me before, I think he was from, like a Chimbro line company. When we had that last storm, I met him down there, and, you know,
I mean, I see dig safe, and it's obviously Road and Acton, I send it to all three of you.
Well,
I mean,
because what happens is when you call dig safe, you have to contact all the utilities
Right.
and municipalities in the area, and we just happen to be a
But
municipality.
a lot of them often say, we await your response, so I just wanna make sure that I'm not doing something, I mean, I'm not missing a step. So, okay, if you guys are happy, I'm happy. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Warrants and bills, I know we all signed them, so
Yep.
I guess I'll look for a motion for approval of the agenda.
Bring a motion, we approve the agenda.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? How about minutes of the last meetings?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of December 30th.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. How about department heads or committee chairs? Anybody have anything they wanna? No? Okay, well then we'll move on to old business. A, public comment follow-up ZBA.
So last week under public comment, someone had some questions on ZBA. I know that we answered some of them on the spot, but it's always good to take a minute and follow up the next week. There was questions about why certain names weren't in the town report, and kind of what was going on with the process, so we had a little more time to pull it. So the 2018 town report that he referenced, that those names were not in, there were only 4 names in. Town reports are run as of July 1st of 2018, so as of July 1st of 18, the 4 people that were listed were on the committee. It was in October of 18 and November of 18, several months later, that Mr. Archambault, Mrs. Michaud, Mr. Waterhouse, Mrs. Sinicol, Mr. Gleason, Mr. Long III, and Mr. Anderson were appointed, so that's why they were not in that town report, so I wanted to clarify that to him. And then even though it's at print, I did bring prints off the page from July 1st of 19, which is the year ending that you've got. You'll see all of the names were listed there properly. It's just not out to print yet.
B, letter of no action, continuation.
Mr. Winchell?
So, I'm still looking through it. I've made some calls, trying to figure out exactly what the issue is here. And at this point, I do have one individual that I like to call, make sure that we get the full story, make sure everybody's in line. I did, we talked to Ken about it, and obviously, Mr. Demers got their side. I got one individual that I like to talk to before we make a decision on this.
We're gonna follow up on the certified letter too.
Yes.
Okay.
All the individuals I talked to so far had gotten the certified letter. Those are the only ones I'm talking to.
Okay.
To make sure that their story matches, because there's a lot of moving parts to this. I just want to make sure we make the right decision here.
Yep.
And I'm not involved in it at all, but But I know that I heard some talk about it certified not being picked up. You could certainly get that from the department head, and, that, you'd be able to see it for yourself if it wasn't
As far
picked
as I know,
up.
everybody got their certified letter. So we're gonna
Table that until next week?
Yeah.
They should have those letters, so you could see them.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Right, and that's what I'm saying, if we have any that we sent that weren't picked up, we would have those as well.
Okay, they
So,
come back.
so you could see that.
All right, so, we need a little bit more time on that, obviously. That it, David?
Excuse me?
Add in on that for now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go on to C, Capital Improvement Committee.
So I didn't prepare the appointments for tonight because I neglected to ask the board how long you wanted them appointed. If we just do June 30th of 2021, they would fall in line with everybody else. That would give you, kind of 6 months. I don't know if you're planning on how soon you're gonna meet with the whole pandemic, if you wanna stagger them, what exactly you wanna do, if you wanna go for a year. So I was looking for some direction from the board.
6 months isn't gonna give me any time to do anything.
No, I'd go a year.
And I would go until,
Could we go to the following?
I'd go to the
June?
following June, the end of the following June,
When is that?
2022.
Yeah, we
Or
don't wanna
20
load ourselves up with a bunch of appointments. If we
Right.
stagger it a little bit, we won't have, like we did with the planning board, where we had all of them all at once.
Oh, so stagger the individual terms?
I think that's what we ought to do, because having them all at once, I don't think that's a real good idea.
No, everything should be staggered. I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with that. Can we do that?
We could.
You can, it's a new committee, so you can do whatever you tell them to
Yeah.
do. The question is,
Yeah,
so you
how
wanna
would
do, so at 2022, so you wanna do, we have 5 members, so we could do 2 22s and maybe 3 23s. You don't wanna go too far out, just.
Right.
But that
But
would be,
then you need to decide, because we've been down this road, who do you want for the 22s and who do you want for the 23s? Let me just go alphabetical, backwards,
As far
just,
as I'm
Just
concerned, it's
go
irrelevant.
alphabetical.
Picking,
yeah.
well, we say that, but we've
well,
had that situation in the
It really
past.
is. It's just,
So alphabetical.
Yeah,
sure,
So alphabetical, first 2 last name get 22s, the rest get 23s.
yep.
Got it. Thank you.
so we'll do that next week.
I will.
And then we will figure out when we're gonna meet. How does that sound? Is that,
All right,
okay,
we'll get them sworn in and you guys can set something up.
Yep.
all right.
Good timing with the budget coming up.
All right, D, Eagle Road, Article 43.
And that shouldn't be Eagle Road, it should, oh no, it is Eagle Road.
Yeah, it is Eagle.
Yeah, so that's just, on there so that we don't forget it for next week, so it'll stay on there as old business until the road committee makes a decision.
Okay. All right, so moving right along, new business, Register of Voters Appointment.
So I sent you the statute under elections, so you can see that the, term is every 2 years on the odd year, so my term is up. I sent you the statute and the appointment if you're so blind.
Want me to read this now?
Sure.
So, Certificate of Appointment, Title 30A MRSA 2602, Selectmen's Office, Municipality of Acton, Maine, to Jennifer Rue, the Selectmen of the Municipality of Acton, do, in accordance with the provisions of the laws of the state of Maine, hereby appoint you as Registrar of Voters within and for the Municipality of Acton until 12/31/2022, given under our hand, 6th day of January 2020.
I make a motion that we appoint Jennifer Rue as the registrar of voters.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? All right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
ship her right down the alley.
That works. All right, next is B, Freedom of Information Request.
So I was away from my desk, when I got this, but it was, brought up from downstairs. There was a sticky note on it, so for clarity, it just said, can he get this tonight? I haven't had a chance to speak to anybody, but this is from, Steve Geranium, looking for a complete file of map 113, lot 1, needed as soon as possible. So, We'll send that right back down if the board approves it. I'm not sure where the sticky came from. I'm guessing the staff that brought it up. And if they have time to do it, I mean, it sounds like it's something just from their department, so we wouldn't have any concerns of
We
how
don't have
soon
to
it got
vote on
done.
it or anything, right? Just.
I'm sorry?
We don't have to vote on it, do we?
No, you have to, well, you have to acknowledge and sign them in public meetings.
Just
so-
initial it.
Yep.
Your pen? Oh, yeah.
And based on Ed's recommendation earlier, we'll confirm that that's just the CEO file. I'm assuming he doesn't want file meaning assessing or tax or anything upstairs, but we'll double check. Can you just make me a pile, David, so I don't have to keep getting up?
Yes.
All right. C, code enforcement job opportunity / fill-in discussion.
So two things here. So last Wednesday, you instructed me to start putting this together. I sent you all home with the job description and numerous samples from surrounding towns, so this is the first time you've seen it. I know very little about that position, so I'm taking off a whim and pulling from other towns, so the town of Acton is currently accepting applications for code enforcement officer / director of planning. That's what the current position holds. I'm not sure if you want to keep that title. This is a full-time position that reports to the Board of Selectmen. Position reviews and issues building permits, electrical permits, conducts building and field inspections, investigates complaints, and ensures, there should be an S on that, compliance with the town of Acton ordinances and building codes. Please visit the town's website to view the full job description. Position requirements, high school diploma or equivalent, state of Maine resident. That is something, yes. We're gonna go with yes.
We've been there before, yes.
Haven't-
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't,
You do have to be a state of Maine resident, yeah. It's
Three-
something the state has tend to look over.
okay.
Because
But-
they had three towns in Acton's
Yeah.
defense. They had Acton, Shapley, and Lebanon that all had New Hampshire's in that.
Right.
It was very unclear about an official versus, I mean, and we
Yeah.
took it as high
The
up.
licensing side of the state
Right.
issued it knowing the licenses were sent to a neighboring state. If the
Right.
person lived in a neighboring state,
They were told to.
they're the ones who issued the licenses.
Okay.
But you look further in the ruling,
And it says you're not.
yeah,
It's an old law.
it is, it's ridiculous, to be honest, but especially for us bordering towns.
3 years of related experience in the construction field, that's something I pulled from another one. Candidates with state of Maine certifications in plumbing, subsurface wastewater, basic code enforcement, shoreland zoning, or land use laws will receive priority consideration. Town of Acton has a generous benefit package including paid vacation, sick time, retirement, health insurance, and longevity bonuses. Town of Acton, and this was per one of you last week, Town of Acton is an equal opportunity employer. This position will remain open until filled, and the persons of interest should do blah, blah, blah. So,
Yep.
it's generic, it's my first time kind of whipping it together. Tell me what you want to add or delete.
When it says, please visit the town's website, can you put the website in there?
Yep.
Just-
I know we had quite an extensive list of things that, the duties, I guess, is what it was.
We have a very full job description.
Yeah, yeah, so that should be, well, that's where you'll find the rest of it, so.
So do you want, I mean, do you want to say something in the requirements that you need, I mean, are you looking for somebody are you expecting to find somebody that's already going to qualify for that? Are you open to somebody getting the training? And I'm thinking Shapley as an example, only because we didn't get anybody that already had the licenses, so they put like steps in place, do you know what I mean, for the
Right.
individuals, he got
Right.
certifications.
I would think that,
We're probably gonna have to do something like that, but
Right.
that's something we can discuss with the individual too, when
Or,
we're,
I'd like to see some.
some certificate.
gotta have
but
something,
They don't
yeah.
have it, you
And
know, at
obviously, if
all.
there's
We
an
can work with
electrical
them.
or a plumbing thing,
Right.
where we can have that done else, from outside.
Yeah.
Cause other towns do that anyway, some towns don't even
They
have
have
the
up to
code
a year
enforcement
to do the
officers that.
shoreland zoning. Did I
Yeah,
hear
you
that?
can get certified, I mean.
Right, so they'd have, I think it's a shoreland zoning that you have some time to do, if they didn't have that.
Yeah, I mean, we have in here the candidates with state of Maine certificates will receive, priority,
Right. And we do need to say something about clean driving record.
yes. Yeah, background check,
Like I said, we've been a little,
yeah,
not a lot of time, but we threw it together, background
Yeah.
check. I mean, it's generic, there's nothing that says you can't, require more or ask for more as your
Yeah.
candidates come in. It's
The
just a-
driving record, why would, I mean, they're driving their own vehicle.
Yeah,
We're
but
paying-
if they're driving their own vehicle under on our time, they're on our insurance.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So, yep,
So basic, start with that, I mean, you didn't want a date on it, right? You wanted until filled,
right, yep.
so
Yeah, I would say just add those little things there and
when, and get it posted
get it posted and,
right away?
yes,
Please.
I would, yeah. Yep,
And then the other piece that, somebody wanted to discuss was the fill-in discussion.
I'll try, yeah.
Well, I mean, the other towns that I work in, when code officers leave, they usually call around to other code officers in the area. Like Shapley, when their code officer left, they'd have the guy from Limerick come down. Over in Waterboro, they have a guy from Leamington that comes down, or it might be the vice versa, something like that. So, it might be in our best interest to put some feelers out there and see if we might be able to get somebody to cover in case, you know, we're gonna need somebody, because I don't
Just for
think,
inspections, I mean.
Just for
basic
inspections and-
inspections.
I would
Well-
say just,
our existing one said that he would be available to do inspections. Our existing one said that he will be available
I
still to
thought
do
he said just
inspections.
nights and weekends.
That's when he said, nights and weekends.
Yeah, but I
what would
mean,
we
a
get from somebody
contractor,
else?
Yes.
Would that be the same?
contractors can't depend on nights and
This
weekends.
is true.
So, I mean, it's not fair to the,
Yep.
people out there working every day.
If we had him and somebody else, then maybe
Well, that's
between
it.
the two of them.
Just, because we always had like, we used to have Brian Paul back in the day, remember Brian? Brian was our backup.
Yeah.
So when Ken would go on vacation, we had someone that
Right.
would come in and do
Yeah.
inspections and that, then when we gave that job to Brenda,
Right.
that was her job.
Right,
And now
and we had Steve and Chapley at one point.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, I think what we ought to do is put some feelers out there and see if we can, might be able to pick up a code officer in the general area.
Yeah.
Obviously, and, see if, you know, in case we get in a pinch.
Yep. Okay.
We'll have you call around maybe and see if anybody's interested.
What do you, you're looking for somebody primarily during the week, correct? Because you've got weekend and, you have
someone's
weekend
gonna be-
coverage or do you have evening coverage? You have evening?
We have evening and weekend coverage,
We
so
have
we
evening
need
and
somebody
weekend.
available during the day.
Okay. And, what is the pay rate?
Good question.
I know what they're gonna ask me.
He told us more than that, but 30 I think would be, yeah.
But this,
I would think 30 for this would be,
yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna work, but
I don't think they're gonna come over for $30
No,
now.
you know,
What do you guys,
I mean, what, you agreed to pay him
then use the
what?
40.
40, right?
40.
40 plus mileage is,
getting mileage, right?
Yeah,
sorry?
I said
Yeah.
plus mileage,
Yep.
right?
yeah.
So he's gonna stay on part-time, submit at 40, so your other deputies would be,
Yeah.
would be.
Okay.
yeah, because the big issue is too is, you know, say like myself, okay? If somebody needs their septic system done, say their septic's dumping out in the backyard and you gotta do the septic, this time of the year, you have to be able to schedule inspection during the day.
Right.
Bang, 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 in and out.
Yeah, 'cause,
And
yeah,
so,
freezing and all.
You know, you can't leave it open.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So when will inspections stop during the week? When, I mean, how soon are you looking to bring this person in and? I
We're
mean,
gonna
I
have
can-
somebody right off, because
So
Ken's done on the 10th.
he's done on the.
We need someone to come in and at least, if we can get somebody here that Ken can meet with to kind of go over some stuff, at least, hey, you know, this is how, this blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
Before he leaves, if possible.
yeah.
Today's
Yeah.
Wednesday.
I know, but we still, he said he would come in and,
Yeah.
Yes, you
So,
know, he said he
how about
would be
this?
there
If-
for us.
I will reach out and see if I can find a couple that are interested, maybe Monday, the 11th, in the evening, can schedule a board to meet with them, and, I will CC the code enforcement to see if he'd be available to meet with them as well. So the four of you would meet with said individual.
Yep.
Is that fair on the 11th? Okay. I'll, see what I can do. Otherwise, we'll get this posted right away.
All right, moving on, Saco River appointment.
The Saco River, God love them, is one of those committees that we always have a hard time appointing, but somehow they're always working it behind the scenes. So they always find people and they just show up in my office and say, poof, I want to be on it. So we've got a great candidate, Julie Vanel, who, has offered to step forward and be on the Saco River. So, They reached out to me today, and, they have their own oath that they use. She would be an alternate member, because I believe that Mr. Crespi is your regular member. So this is an oath looking for your signature.
All right, so, certificate of appointment, Title 30-A, MRSA 2602, Selectmen's Office, Municipality of Acton. Today is January 6, 2020, to Julie Vanel of 467 Man Road, Acton, Maine, in the County of York, State of Maine. There will be a vacancy in the position of the Saco River Corridor Commission. The Selectmen of the Municipality of Acton do, in accordance with the provisions of the law of the State of Maine, hereby appoint you as a Saco River Corridor Commission member, alternative within and for the Municipality of Acton. Such appointment to be effective until November 1st, 2021, given under our hands this day of January 6, 2020.
I'll make a motion, we appoint Julie Vanel to the Saco River Corridor as an alternate member.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? All right. E, drug testing policy.
So pre-pandemic, we started working on policies. If you remember, we did 2 or 3 a week. We were moving right along. Then we had this pandemic hit us. Cheryl and I have worked diligently to get the policy book alphabetized and make sure on the website that all of the policies are updated, they're alphabetized, their vision date, everything is on there. So it's a great, clean collection of all of your policies. We've got a few that need to come back around. But this is one that was changed because of law changes. So I'm gonna ask you to take a look at this and, for next week, because this is one that we really need to, we're still following the old LexisNexis, even though we only have 2 employees at this time. We need to get that policy adopted. And that was written by legal. So if you could look at it, I would appreciate it.
F, pandemic policy.
So the pandemic policy that the treasurer recommended the Board of Selectmen sign on the second page, talks about paid sick leave, and it talks about the policy being from March 18th through December 31st, because at the time when this pandemic policy was written, they really were in the hopes that we'd be through some of this by now. Unfortunately, we're not, and if we have an employee that is exposed and has to go out based on this policy after December 31st, we don't have to legally pay them. But the flip side of that is the employee gonna then tell you if they've been exposed? There's also the piece in here that, the board needs to discuss it. If you've been exposed, and this is based on federal law, and it's in the policy because it's federal law. If you've been exposed and you have to be quarantined for now 10 days, and then it happens again, the board only has to pay you once during any quarter, but, so we're asking for 2 things tonight. So first is that you extend it, Michelle's asking that you extend it through March 31st of 2021. We'll see what it looks like in 3 months. And then, I don't know if you want to do the other one as, well, I almost said as a case-by-case basis, but that's not a good idea because you don't want to discriminate against your employees. Nobody asks to be exposed, you know what I mean? And we require.
Did you say every quarter? Oh,
Yeah.
is that what you said? Okay.
So I guess the piece that you authorize for the employees to continue to be paid during their quarantine, based on policy, we do require that they get tested, they have to show proof of a negative test. So we've got everything in a row, but.
Which page is that on?
Page 2.
They're both on page 2?
Well, it all kind of falls in together.
Okay.
So, if you extend it, so the second, and under this law, employee must provide 2
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
of paid sick time, so, and it goes on to say that you only have to do this once. I just don't, and I don't know what you want to do. Oh, and I wouldn't reference the page, because when I was working on the 3rd page, the emergency family medical leave, That's through December 31st as well. So the whole policy needs to be extended through March 31st until we see if we're in any better spot for the pandemic. And then it's just your decision if you want to pay them while they're out on quarantine. Continue to pay them if they're out on quarantine. So if you make that statement, we'll make the changes in the policy and then bring it back to you next week for signatures.
Yeah, I think we should extend it.
Oh, definitely.
And, you know, pay them, like,
Yeah, I mean, we've been
Yeah.
lucky
Totally
so
is
far. I mean, we've only had, I think, one exposure, so we're doing good.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just extend the whole thing and,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, all parts of it.
All right, so we'll put that, can we make a motion to extend it so that if anybody gets sick in the meantime? Make a motion to extend it?
I'll make a motion, we extend the policy to March 31st of
And can that
21.
be effective January 1st, or do you want it effective the 6th? And I think you know why I'm
you
asking.
gotta,
I'll make it effective immediately.
Immediately being today the 6th, or backdate it to January 1st?
I think to keep it clean, let's go back to January 1st.
No one asked to be exposed. I think that's the right
Right.
decision.
Yep.
So you guys good with that? So motion was made to extend it
Good.
back to January 1st? Who seconded
I'll
it?
second it.
all right, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All
Thank you.
opposed? All right, extended. You said 31st, right?
Yeah, that was Michelle's recommendation. We'll see what happens from there.
Two of those.
Yeah, I did too. Oh, one is the signed copy that we
Oh,
had from before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Carol said she thought she saw two.
Yep.
All righty, so moving along. G, an executive session follow-up.
This is follow-up because the concern has been made publicly, whether it meant to be on camera or not on camera. So I finally decided to get an opinion from legal because I feel like it's something that we continue to hear. So just for clarity, here's the email that I said to Maine Municipal. Hello, quick question regarding executive sessions. Here are the steps we take for executive sessions. My question comes in the end. 1, the board opens in a public meeting. 2, the board motions to go into executive session citing the citation. 3, the board exits the public meeting. 4, the board completes the executive session per the statute referenced. 5, the board returns to the public meeting and motions to come out of executive session. 6, if the board has no action to take, their next step is to move on to the next agenda item. This is where they're being questioned. If no action is taken, do they need to make any motions to take any action based on the executive session, say anything, or is moving on to the next agenda item clear enough that they took no action? Dear Jennifer, unless the board has adopted bylaws or the town has an ordinance that specifically addresses this, the board is not required to make a motion that will take no action as to the matter discussed in the executive session after leaving the executive session. The board may simply move on to its next item. In my opinion, this will be appropriate since there is no open or unresolved matter at hand. The motion to enter an executive session, as long as it is to discuss the matter only and is concluded when the board moves to enter back into public proceeding. A motion to take no action on a matter discussed is not necessary. As you probably already know, no actions may be taken during executive session, so any motions to vote on a matter discussed in executive session must be made beforehand. So you don't have to say anything when you come out. If you are going in for, to get legal counsel or whatever the statute is, a personnel issue, maybe you're getting updated on COVID, maybe it's a HIPAA, whatever it may be, you know, what we've gone in for, if it's informational, you come out, you go on to the next agenda. There is nothing that says you have to do anything, according to Maine Municipal, so we did double check.
And that was during the last executive session meeting, during the, public forum that was going on? Is that when this question came up?
Yes, someone asked me because they heard about it. So
Yeah.
I looked and made sure we were doing it right.
I'd like to, mention a little bit about something about that public forum that happened the other day. And I would like to invite everybody to watch the last meeting on the 30th. We leave the cameras going for the simple fact that there's people at home, when we shut the cameras off, they shut the TV off, thinking that the meeting is over. So what we've done now is we leave the camera on, and certain individuals seem to think it's time to play politics and to mention and get personal with people on the board. Last week, my my deceased grandfather was brought up. I was brought up numerous times. Stories about me at planning board meetings that were bogus were brought up. And honestly, at the end of the day, I understand what's going on here. Typically, once a week, I get baited into something, and that was working pretty good. Baited me pretty good, because my goal was to come up here and let everybody have it, but I wasn't gonna do it. So, myself, I like to make a suggestion that we shut off the clown show while we're off at our executive sessions. And for people to bring up my deceased grandfather and compare people and do what they were doing, it's pathetic. And my grandfather was twice the people these people were. And I think I'm gonna leave it at that.
What do you think, Ed? I personally would like to shut it off anyhow.
Yeah,
I don't think it needs to run, but
The thing, I mean, and-
I'm gonna say one thing.
is there anything to go across the camera that says, we will be back?
Yeah,
So
hey,
people
Bob, I'm
at
sure you
home
can
know?
come up with something to do that, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Tell Mike to put something.
Something that,
Yeah.
executive session will be back, momentarily.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to
Some
run
music
it.
or something.
Something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would have used the word clown show, but that's just my,
Well,
I understand, Dave, it's okay, we'll just leave it at that.
But what-
So,
what's
I would say,
happening
yeah, we
here-
could shut the camera, off.
unfortunately, Ed, is I believe this is being done on purpose.
Oh, I know, I fully understand the whole ramification, but I'm just, yeah,
So we all agree?
yep.
All right, sounds good.
Yep.
H, we're not dealing with H tonight?
well,
Do you wanna
well,
talk
no,
about-
I thought,
meant-
I just want to make sure. I
just
thought
meant that
you told
person's
him,
not here.
what I heard, is there a method for papers to be read aloud if somebody wasn't present?
Okay.
Was that, I don't know what conversation you had.
Was wondering if that's what was gonna happen.
I mean, we
That's why I
can-
was just asking you if we had them.
We can, yeah, I put them in here because I really was hopeful that he would be able to present them.
Right.
We can go over the topics of them, and then you guys can read them and maybe follow up via email or phone or,
Give just a hair of a background as to why we're doing it this way. We had an individual in here tonight that basically refused to wear a face covering.
and told us in
So-
advance.
Yes, and told us in advance, refused to wear it tonight in the hall
So I
while you
came
folks
out.
are all sitting there, and in our effort to keep everyone safe, we did tell the individual that he needed to wear it, he chose to leave.
Right.
So we do have his paperwork, so,
He had wanted to present
Yes.
this, and I told him,
Yeah.
we still
And-
would. He
yeah, so
can't,
we'll
he
still-
has, there's an issue with
Yeah.
keeping the mask on his face, and that's understandable,
Yeah.
but.
And we
also
have
a-
shields
yeah,
and
we're
other
trying to
issues.
keep everybody
We
safe,
did
the
get legal
individual and
opinion,
you
make sure we
folks.
were all set and
Yeah, oh
everything.
yeah,
We're
we
all
checked
good.
well in
So-
advance.
Yeah,
So the first one is a attachment from the United States Department of Justice. It's statement to the Department of Justice on enforcement and the integration mandate of Title II of Americans with Disability Act. This document is dated June 22nd, 2011. I have not read it, but I can tell you that, well, and I think we had this conversation a little earlier, these executive orders, according to the counsel that we're getting in the governor's office that we're speaking to today, they've worked in the Disabilities Act in with their executive orders, but this is, certainly something that he would like you to read. I have not read it, but that's there for you. The next two documents, one is, dated November 4th. These are executive orders. Certainly the town is certainly aware of these. I would question on the November 11th one. I believe that it's been, another one has trumped it since then, but this is November 11th. I don't know what specifically he wanted you to,
Is it November or December 11th?
the first one's November 4th of 2020.
Then I've got a December 11th.
Yep, so that was the next one.
Okay, yep.
But he wanted you to see both of these executive orders. The December 11th executive order that he presented to you was actually the same order that our own legal team pointed us to in regards to the statement that no such accommodation can make it permissible for someone to enter or remain in an indoor public setting without a face mask covering. So, the next one is Americans with Disabilities Act Preservation Resolution. And I believe that is something that he is looking for the town to possibly consider adopting. If you look at the second page, so possibly you can read over all these documents with him, communicate via email or however you want to do it. But that's what was on the attachment that he sent me.
Good.
I mean, the first one, it says here, it's in order to revise indoor gathering limits, strengthen face covering requirements, and delegate certain authorities. That one was on November 4th. And the one on December 11th is an order simplifying and strengthening enforcement of face covering requirements. And then this Americans with Disability Act Preservation Resolution, looks like this is something he would like us to adopt. And as I'm looking through it real quickly, it says here that, whereas the people of Maine believe that the governor and her orders violate the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act. So, it kind of goes on from there. He wants us to think about, we probably should read through it.
Definitely.
Miss anything?
No?
So, I guess give us the week to go through it, and,
Okay, might put it on next week's agenda.
okay, thank you.
We want to do public comment before we go into executive session again?
Do we have any public comments tonight, or?
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session. Personnel matter 405, 6A at 7:20.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Yep, that's 6A-1.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. It's all in favor?
Yep.
He recommends.
No, what we need are those, ones that hang on the wall there. Heat pumps, need some heat pumps.
Yeah.
Air conditioning.
That's just electricity, though. Oh, I'll make a motion, we come out of executive session 405, 6A-1 at 7:59.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we already did public comments, do we have any announcements? We've already,
It's the road committee on the, what, 19th?
19th
Was it
at
at
6?
6?
And then, yeah, and then the Warren and Finance, we're gonna
Yep.
meet, as well. They're all posted on the website.
Okay,
Yep.
well,
Safest place to look at this hour.
Yep.
I guess I'm looking for a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
I'll second that.
Seconded, all in favor? Have a good night, everybody, thank
Night
you.
all.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you much.
All right, my dear, let's, do this quickly.